Hello everyone, and today at Safety Detective we are going to be looking at the Prot antivirus software. We will start with an overview of their site, then installation instructions and a tutorial of how to use the software. Next, we will test the software's performance and ability to identify viruses, and finally we will test their customer support response time and quality. Alright, so to start on their website, personally I find it to be quite dated and boring looking, especially with all the white elements all around the sides here. So let's just go ahead and start with this first page, Home Antivirus. So you can see there's Prot antivirus for Windows home use, and it has a list of the features here. And then there is the benefits down below here, and personally I find these to be pretty similar to the features, so I wouldn't pay them too much mind. And then if we move down to system requirements, we can see that the really only requirement of note here is that you have a Windows system, because Prot is not compatible with Mac OS X devices. So you can buy Prot for $29 USD annually, and then you can see tabs at the top for license renewals and for resellers, but you don't have to worry about those for now. Alright, now let's go ahead and take a step back to the home page and we can move ahead with the download. Alright, now that we're back on the home page, we can go ahead and click downloads, because you can get a 30-day trial version, which is what we're going to be doing today. And then you can also get a different version for if you're using this for corporate use. But today, as I said, we're just going to do the home user download free trial. And then as you can see, it's downloading in the bottom left here. It's done. So we're going to go ahead and click install. Alright, so next it's going to give you a prompt recommending that you close all Windows programs before proceeding. But given that I have many programs running, I'm just going to go ahead and ignore this and move on. So there's the user agreement, which we're going to go ahead and accept, next, and then it'll ask you about if you want a desktop shortcut or a start menu shortcut, which I'm going to keep. Alright, so this is the point where if you purchased Prot for $29 annually, you would input your subscription key, except we did not do that. So we're going to get the trial subscription key here and fill out our name and email, and then click next. We're going to go ahead and finish. At this point, Prot will prompt you to restart your system in order for the configuration changes made to take effect. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll return in just a moment. Alright everybody, we are back with Prot successfully installed and initialized within Windows, so let's jump right into the settings here. So if we look over here at the interface itself, personally I find the interface to be quite dated and boring, similar to the website. And this is sort of backed up by the fact that Prot can integrate with Internet Explorer and Outlook Express to scan attachments and downloads. I don't think anybody at all ever uses Internet Explorer, especially since it doesn't even come installed on Windows 10. And personally, I do not use Outlook either, so that makes this feature quite pointless to me, but some users may find it helpful. So let's go ahead and start clicking through some settings and sort of explore together. So if we click on virus scanners at the top here, we can see the 3 automatic scanner options, and currently they're all set to on, so that means those are the default. And then there's also an option called scans at the bottom, which tells you the last time that your full computer scan was performed. And if we click on the updates tab here, we can see the current version number, the current scanning engine version number, etc. And we can go ahead and click check for updates, and everything is up to date, which is to be expected since we just installed the software. And something important to note that I actually discovered while doing some research is that the last update to the software was in 2011, which I find to be quite concerning. And as you'll see later, it performs very well on the virus tests that I give it, but more sophisticated viruses may be able to beat this virus scanner. And then off to the left here, you can also check the status of your subscription. You can also buy a new subscription and read the license agreement should you choose to do so. Alright, so now with that out of the way, let's go back to the virus scanner setting and do a full scan of my computer and see how that goes. So while that's running, this seems like a good time to talk about the other features and benefits of Prot. One of the main secondary features of Prot is that it features a built-in help directory that you can use even offline. So if you don't have access to the internet to troubleshoot a problem, you can just consult the offline directory and it should have the answer to your question. Alright, so the scan finally finished. It took a very long time. To be precise, it took 3 hours, 45 minutes, and 34 seconds. But I expect that is largely attributed to the fact that I have about 10 to 15 terabytes of files, which is significantly more than the average user, so I'm guessing that your time may vary, but I expect it'll be significantly lower than mine. So in this tab, you can see the levels of protection as well as the reaction policy if a virus should be found, but there's not much to see here, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next tab of Internet and Email. Once again, not too much of importance here unless you use Outlook, which I don't, so we're going to head and move on to the manual scan option. And on this page, you can scan select devices or select drives rather than the entire computer. Personally, I recommend scanning the entire computer, at least for your first scan, just so you can make sure that everything is secure. But moving forward, maybe you can only scan your download drive or something similar to that. And on this next page, you can see the status of the current scan or the most recent scan in our case. So you can see the duration here, the scanned files, and the infected objects, disinfected objects, and quarantine files. In this case, all of them were 0, but once again, your mileage may vary. And then you can check the quarantine here, and if there were any infected files on my computer, they would have been moved to here for further review. And then there's also some advanced scanning options down here. Most notably the exclusions category, which is where you can exclude certain areas of your computer for being scanned for one reason or another. Alright, now if we pop over to the Help Center, which I already briefly mentioned, we can see that we have the offline support center here. We have the online support center, and we have a link to contact customer support, and you can actually create a ticket straight from within the app, which is a very nice design. Alright, so at this point, we are going to go ahead and do a virus test. So as usual, we are going to go to IcarusSecurity.com, download. Alright, perfect. It has automatically detected our test virus and quarantined it in the appropriate location that we set earlier in the video. Even in the middle of the scan, Prot did not go above 1% CPU usage, making it excellent for slower machines and very efficient. Alright, and then as for pricing, as I've mentioned several times throughout the video, Prot is $29 USD annually, not monthly. That's a very important distinction to note. Overall, Prot definitely has some value, but there are other antivirus softwares I would prefer to use, especially given that Prot hasn't been updated since 2011. I find that to be very worrying, as internet viruses are constantly shifting and evolving. And so I'd recommend checking out a different antivirus software from safetydetective.com. And to learn more about Prot or to browse other antivirus software reviews, be sure to check us out at safetydetective.com.